Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Are we live? I think we're live. Let's check. Let me do the typical annoying thing and check to see if we're live. We are live. Hello. Yes. We are definitely live. 100%. We are 100% live, definitely. Okay, so breaking news. Breaking news. Inmates have escaped from a New Orleans jail. We're going to take a look at this. We're going to take, oh man, if you can't do the crime, don't do the time. Oh, no, no, no. If you can't do the crime, don't do the time. If you can't do the crime, don't do the time. It's backwards. They got it backwards. In Louisiana, it's if you can't do the if you can't do the crime, don't do the time. All right, so I'm gonna tell you what's wrong with this. Okay, now if you look, let me move my screen. All right, so to my right on the screen over here, in this area right of me, you'll see the metal toilet right to my right, right? And then where I'm facing, where I'm looking at, you see the guy trying to jimmy the cell door, and I'm trying to figure out like it looks like a cell door. So they're claiming that this is how they escaped, but this to me looks like a cell door. It looks like a slider door. It's the same doors we had in the Florida Department of Corrections, same exact doors, only the sliders windows were like these slits instead of these big huge windows for the most part. Those are like our confinement doors. I'm trying to figure out like this definitely doesn't look like a hallway door. This looks like a cell slider door. So is there a cell that they had that was off limits because it had a hole in the wall? It was like the toilet area where the toilet goes. Was there like a hole in the wall and they knew it was there? And all they had to do was get this door open and they knew they'd be home free after that? I mean, you could tell it like it takes them a minute to get this door open. And I know you can jimmy a slider door open. And I'm thinking like, were the guards this incompetent, like just to leave the cell door? Like you can't just close off a cell that has a hole in it. And I'm thinking like, look, see, they all just run out. And I'm trying to figure out like what happened. This video doesn't really tell the full story because that looks like a cell door to me. That doesn't look like a hallway door to me at all. And apparently, I don't know if this video shows it or not. I don't know if this video shows it or not. I don't know what they want us to see. I'd be looking in the bottom left-hand corner, or maybe up here in the top right-hand corner. I don't know what it is they want us to see here. If this captures the escape on camera or what, but man, this is pretty interesting. We got a situation here. We actually have some inmates that have escaped. Let me see if I can edit the name of this stream. Hold on 1 second. The fuck? See if I can edit the name of the stream here. Okay. All right, so now I need to change this to some type of fear-mongering title. Let's go to alert emoji. We're gonna change this to some kind of fear-mongering. There we go. We're gonna be like New York Prepper. Tonight we're gonna be just like New York Prepper. We're gonna be like total fear-mongers. We're gonna put the emergency emoji and alert 10 inmates escape. Very dangerous. And then we're going to put the other alert emoji there. And then we're going to save. and then we're gonna find this is propaganda 101. This is how you control the masses and make them think so. Bad, violent inmate. Like, let's find a really scary. Yeah, there we go. There we go. There are literally some 13s right there. Got some 13s. Got some 13s. Okay, boom. And now we're gonna hold on one second. My download folder might look a little crazy. Never mind, it doesn't look crazy. There we go. Boom. Now all of a sudden, look how menacing that looks. Look how scary that looks. We're just like New York prepper tonight. We're fear mongering tonight. Look, we are fear mongering tonight. This is how you fear monger right here. All right? And I'm not fear mongering because 10 inmates really did escape. They just weren't. They just didn't look like that. So 10 inmates escaped. Let's see what's going on here. Let's see what Fox News has to say about
this
it.
Massive story we're covering out of New Orleans, Louisiana. 11 escaped inmates. There is a manhunt underway at this hour.
Inmates.
We have a brand.
We were wrong. Hold on. This is even better. They caught one, so it is 10. Okay.
New statement in from the Attorney General of Louisiana. She says, quote, someone clearly dropped the ball and there is no excuse for this. I'm in communication with Troop NOLA and the LA State Police, Louisiana State Police Superintendent, Colonel Hodges. It's all hands on deck. The first priority in any escape must be the immediate capture of the inmates in coordination with state and local law enforcement. But that effort cannot come at the expense of timely notification to the public, which is also critical to keeping communities safe. My office will do whatever it takes to determine how this happened and make sure that it won't happen again. I'm calling on a full investigation. This is beyond unacceptable. And once these offenders are back in custody, there must be real accountability. John, as we have more brand new information.
Okay, now, those of you that know me, I'm a former inmate myself. I was wrongfully convicted. I was involved with a militia group when I was younger, and I ended up going to prison, right? And so I have a pretty nuanced take on this. You guys probably have a lot of questions. One, you guys want to know, are these people very, very dangerous? Yes, they are very, very dangerous. Part of the reason they're very, very dangerous is even if they would want to just chill, even if they want to just chill and be free, the fact that they're being hunted down by authorities, they have to do more dangerous shit to put distance between themselves and the authorities, right? They need to do things to get resources to get further away. So if you want the further away from the police you want to get, it takes things like vehicles. It takes things like, money, places to hide. Takes things like money. You have to feed yourself. You have to sustain yourself. And so these people can't get like a job or something because they're escaped inmates that are on the run. So in order for them to get the logistics to stay free longer, they need to probably do some kind of illegal act, right? And I mean, let me put it this way: they're not about to go hide out in the woods and eat earthworms and shit like that. They're gonna get the resources they need. And so, just to change out of their prison uniform, they need clothing. So they're either gonna shoplift that clothing, or they're gonna break into a house, or they're gonna, I mean, back in the day in the movies, I guess they'd take it off a clothesline, but there's no clotheslines anymore. But I tell you what, if they shoplift the clothing from a store, if they're hardened criminals, they probably know how to get away with shoplifting from a store. If I wanted to shoplift from a store, I could. I don't want to do it. I don't have the ROI just isn't there for one, and just me as a man, I don't want to as a man like shoplifting like as a grown ass man. No, but an escaped inmate's gonna know how to do it, and so they're gonna find civilian clothing very fast. If you guys got any questions, let me know in the chat. I hope the chat's working. I think it is. I'm going to allow a little bit of time. I don't stream that often, so it is my birthday tomorrow. So we could call this a little bit of a birthday stream here. I'm going to let Fox News do its thing.
Information.
The more they talk, the less I have
that
to.
they do not have two of those back in custody. We were reporting, per their statement, that they had caught two and put back into jail two of these escaped inmates. They are now issuing a correction from the sheriff's office that only one inmate has been captured. There are 10 still on the run.
Yeah, and that fellow was captured in the French Quarter. Had not gone that far. No idea where all of the other inmates went, if they stayed in the city or if they're trying to get out of the city. I mean, there's lots of places to hide in Louisiana. There's no question about that. But full-scale press, manhunt underway to try to get these inmates back because, as you pointed out, Sandra, some of them are very dangerous.
I'm trying to, like, I legit think some of these guys look kind of familiar. That's the funny thing. Even though I'm not from Louisiana, some of these guys, maybe they, I don't know, maybe they know people that I know or something. Maybe I don't know, like maybe they just look like people that I know. It's hard to say. Maybe I've crossed paths with these people before. You know, I do know some. I did meet some people that were from Louisiana when I was in Florida Department of Corrections. I don't think I know any of these guys, but I wouldn't be surprised if one of these guys was like related to people that I know and shit. Like that wouldn't surprise me at all.
We don't know if they've managed to arm themselves since their escape. You could bet, given what they were in jail for, that they are people that you don't want to encounter.
Okay.
I would bet these people are gang affiliated because I don't think that. Here's what I would bet. Based on the escape that I saw, it looks like they went through a cell that was under maintenance, that they knew there was a hole in the wall, and basically, I'm pretty sure they got on some cell phones and they made some calls to some gang affiliates out on the street. The fact that only one of them has been caught is pretty telling. This is probably gang related, and it may be more than one gang. Like this may be more than one. Like this is either one gang or like a collaboration between two gangs. This is probably a gang related escape. And you notice like there's a whole dorm full of inmates, and the other inmates did not escape. It was only like because a pod or a dorm only holds like a certain number of inmates. Like even if Louisiana is more than Florida, like in Florida it's like 40 or 50 inmates per dorm or whatever. So like yeah, 10 of them ran or whatever, but you probably have like 40, 50, or even 60. I don't know how they do it in Louisiana. I think it's more in Louisiana than Florida from what I've heard. But you got to understand there's a lot of inmates that had the opportunity to escape and didn't, right? And the irony is the more dangerous inmates that have more time are probably the ones that escaped, and the ones that you should probably let out are the ones that didn't escape. So I think Louisiana's prison system is definitely a sign that it's overcrowded, and this is the problem with shoving this many fucking people in prison. Like you need to put the seriously dangerous animals that are super violent and dangerous. You need to make sure they're secure, and you need to make sure that they have rehabilitative programs and shit, right? And the people that are not that dangerous, you need to let them out because if you don't, shit like this happens. The guards are understaffed, they're exhausted. There's not enough guards watching these inmates, right? There's not enough guards watching these inmates, and that's why like it sure as hell looks like from the footage we looked at, it looks a lot like they just kind of it looked like they weren't even being supervised. Like they're supposed to be somebody watching that camera that you and me are watching right now. Somebody's supposed to be watching this. You know what I mean? Like somebody is supposed to be watching this, and nobody's watching it. Why is nobody keeping up with the inmates? Why is nobody watching? I'm sorry about that. I gotta get this other window up. I need to make sure this is working. Somebody's properly. Supposed to be. Okay. My chat is working properly. Nobody's chatting yet. Anyways, but yeah, this looks like a cell. You know, this was an out of order cell. They broke into it and they went through the toilet hole, the place where they would put the big aluminum toilet, right? And for those that don't know what I'm talking about, prison toilet aluminum. Okay, so, these are the toilets in prison, all right? And there's usually like a pipe chase or like a hole in the wall. Well, some of these older prisons, the hole in the wall basically leads to outside, right? And under the right circumstances, if there's enough negligence, it could lead to a full-blown escape like this, right? Under enough negligence. Now, a lot of bad things have to happen to lead up to this point. If you had an unsecure cell like this in Florida Department of Corrections, I don't think they would even allow that dorm to be operating. I believe Florida Department of Corrections would have shut that whole dorm down if they knew this was even a possibility. That's what I believe. But again, you don't have the flexibility to shut down an entire dorm because you know this could happen if you simply don't have the bed space, you don't have the cells. So the next best thing they could do is put the people that are about to go home anyway in a dorm like that. But again, that takes a lot of moving people around and a lot of shit. These guards are tired, they're exhausted, they're not paid a heck of a lot to keep track of these inmates. And I'm not going to lie to you, most of the inmates in this dorm did not run. They did not escape. They stayed their ass put. It was the knuckleheads. It was the really dangerous people that earned their bunk that need to be in prison. Those are the ones that actually escaped. The dangerous, violent ones are actually the ones that escaped. I guarantee it. The ones that need to be in prison the most are actually the ones that probably escaped. More than likely, there could be one or two that are good guys that felt like they were given a raw deal, but more than likely, it's the ones that really need to be there that are escaped. And then you got a bunch of guys that just stayed there and didn't run. And honestly, they need to have time taken off their sentences and go home earlier, in my opinion. That's the way I see it. Because the fact that they had the opportunity to escape and they didn't escape, the governor of Louisiana should take time off their sentences, because clearly this is an issue with overcrowding and understaffing, and you cannot overcrowd a prison when you're understaffing the personnel. You don't have enough personnel. You don't have enough guards.
Any of these escaped inmates. If you have information on their whereabouts, we're asking you call 1-800-CALL-FBI or submit a tip.
Well, shit, I don't have information on their whereabouts. I sure as hell don't have that. But I can tell you one thing that I know 100%. You could bet dollars to donuts this shit's gang related. And I think it involves more than one gang. I think this is a collaboration. Yeah, I think these are two different gangs that have already done business before, and they already kind of know each other inside. They had a contact outside, and they knew that this maintenance cell was fucked up, and they arranged for somebody to get all of them, right? And they got picked up. That's what I think, because the fact that they made such a clean getaway, I noticed a couple people in the comment section on some of these videos were saying it's an inside job. I don't think so. I don't think this was an inside job. I think this was a negligence thing. I think this is people are extremely tired, pulling multiple shifts. This has become their lifeline. You know what I'm saying? It's basically these people are exhausted, and they're being pushed past what you could expect of a human being. And these conditions in these prisons are just dangerous and violent. It goes back to this video that I just fucking did about knife fighting, right? And you got these people in the comment section saying, oh, you're putting yourself as some kind of expert. I'm not an expert. I'm a guy that had no choice but to learn this shit to fucking survive. Okay? The prison system is out of control. Our state prisons are out of fucking control. And you can't even contain the inmates anymore. They are escaping. This is a wake-up call. This is the proverbial, canary in the coal mine. That's what this is.
Tip online to fbi.gov/New Orleans fugitives. We're working side by side with our law enforcement partners. New Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office remains the lead investigative agency here, and we are helping. Thank you very much.
All right, I'll be right back, guys. I'll be right back. Calling all shit posters. Calling all shit posters. We have an emergency. Calling all shit posters. Calling all shit posters. We have an emergency. We need poll on the case. We need poll on the case. All shit posters. All chuds. Everybody. All hands to the deck. We might even need B for this. Yeah, we need B for this. All 4chaners. All chuds. All soy jacks. Everybody. We need your help. We need open source intelligence to solve this mystery. The mystery on where these people have probably gone. And I'll give you a good hint on where to start. Somebody's baby mama's house or somebody's mom's house. It's a good starting point. But we will have poll. We will have 4chan solve the mystery. Open source intelligence. We will have all our army of computer nerds will solve this. And we the shit posters will solve this mystery that the incompetent boomers cannot solve. As usual. Anyway, I just had to do that. I thought that'd be funny. But anyway.
We'll take questions from each. Go ahead from channel 4.
Yeah, is there any indication that friends or family on the outside were aware in advance or communicating about these plans?
And we're not going to get into the details of the investigation, Major Phipps,
Smart.
but we're looking at all angles.
What does it say, and I mean this respectfully, but you said, and I'm going to quote you here, that you observed those guys running out at 1 o'clock in the morning. What does it say for jailhouse safety and security when you see a jailbreak like that, but you fail to notify anyone? NOPD, the public, anyone?
We didn't say that.
What did you say then?
We observed on the video later this morning. We had to pull that
He
video.
said you...
The person working in the dorm was asleep, bro. The dorm officer was asleep. I know this. And people say, how do you know this? Because I just fucking know. What do you want? You want me to give you a crystal ball? I mean, I don't know what to tell you, bro. I was in Florida Department of Corrections for years. I've seen them dorm officers like this at their desk. I've seen them just, they fall asleep. You know, and then they wake up to do master roster count. And then they go to do master roster count, and oh shit, 10 inmates are missing. They must be at a call out. You know, and then they call and they say, we got 10 inmates at a call out. The last thing you're going to assume is that they all escaped, because you have normalcy bias. You're not going to assume when 10 inmates are missing from your dorm, the officer is not going to assume that they just went missing, like escaping, because that doesn't happen every day, right? And that's the last thing. For one, they don't want it to be true, and two, 9 times out of 10, if you jump to conclusions and think there's been an escape, there hasn't been. But then there's that 1%, and that's a motherfucker, and that's what happened. And these people got complacent. They got lazy. I know 100% that's what happened. They don't want to admit it. They're never going to admit it. They're never going to take responsibility for the fact that their officers got complacent and lazy, and it's not really their fault either, because they're overworked and understaffed, and there's just too much shit going on. These people are pulling like double and triple shifts and shit. They don't have enough personnel. These prisons are stuffed. These inmates are, you know, they're crazy, and they haven't been rehabilitated at all. Like, you just have a perfect shitstorm of craziness, and these things happen. Like, you know what I mean? And so this lady is trying to go into damage control, and really, this is a moment where she could speak truth to power. and say all these things, but she's afraid to do that because, this is just a cold bureaucratic system that refuses to adapt and refuses to speak truth to power.
Observed at 1 a.m.
So let's be clear. I said what we observed on the video through the investigation. So yes, when they looked at the video this morning after the staff realized they were gone, my investigators found that...
I'm not gonna lie, that video looks identical to when they call Canteen, by the way. It's the same exact reaction. Everybody running and tripping over each other. Like, that's the same way it looks on Canteen Day, to be honest with you. It's sad, like a bunch of grown-ass men running like that for some soups and chips. You would think that they're running for freedom on Canteen Day, because this is indistinguishable from that.
At 1 a.m., that's what happened.
So no one was watching live video all night at the jail?
I won't say no one was watching live video.
Then how did nobody see them leaving the jail?
There are over 900 cameras.
How did nobody see them leaving the jail?
There are over 900 cameras.
Over 9,000! Over 9,000 cameras! How many cameras are in that prison? It's over 9,000!
It's just, how did no one see a massive jailbreak?
The why and
If you guys don't get the over 9,000 joke, then you're probably over the age of 40.
how is part of the investigation. So we have interviewed, I think, all of our employees, and we are interviewing all of the residents of that particular pod as well. And then there's a lot of people that you've got to wade through their interviews to get down to the details of what happened. There was somebody on duty.
Sheriff, a source told us that phone calls haven't been monitored over the past week, and escaped inmates were planning how they were going to get out through phone calls. Were y'all monitoring phone calls?
We monitor phone calls all the time. There are 1,400 people in this jail, over the city council 1250 limit. So can you monitor every single person?
There you go. What did I just tell you? What did I just fucking tell you guys? The truth comes out. The truth will set you free. The truth will set you free. And in the inmate's case, it will literally set you free. Most of the time, most of the time the truth won't set you free, right? Like Fifth Amendment all day. Like most of the time the truth will get you locked up. But in this particular instance, the truth, the cold hard truth really did set some people free, didn't it? And this is just, I mean, I've been trying to warn people for years, and this is going to, listen, if you want to know the cold hard truth, this is going to continue. This is going to continue. And the reason this is going to continue is very, very simple. Because it's just, there's no reason for it not to continue. Because the conditions that brought this about are only intensifying and increasing, right? So you're not going to see you're not going to see any decrease in the number of escapes. You're only going to see an increase. By the way, that confirms what I was saying earlier about the toilet. You can see it was the toilet. I was absolutely right because it was a cell. Remember what I said earlier? And so again, you notice how I pieced all this together before I even watched this? You could tell it was a cell, right? And so, yeah, that whole dorm should have been considered, out of order. There should have been, more fences. There should be perimeter patrols. There's, 10 different things they fucked up, bro. That whole dorm should be shut down. If it's that easy to get out of the dorm, that whole dorm should have been shut down, right? There should have been the dorm officer should have been watching his dorm carefully. There should be perimeter patrols. You should have, the shift supervisor should be doing outside patrols. There's 10 different things that weren't done properly for this to happen. I'm telling you, 10 different things weren't done properly. And it's because they're overstaffed and they're exhausted and they're demoralized. That's really what this is. They're exhausted, they're overstaffed, they're demoralized, it's overcrowded, the understaffed, exhausted, demoralized, overcrowded, decrepit, everything's falling apart. They don't have the infrastructure they need. They don't have the proper training. They don't have motivation. They're not paid enough. I mean, there's a million things going on. Great Plains, what's going on? End of Empire? Yeah, I mean this is this is definitely a signal of civilization's decline. Mass inmate escapes are an embarrassment for a world superpower. Absolutely, yeah. This has geopolitical implications. Absolutely, yeah. I'm glad you said that. Thank you for your comment.
Every day? No, we
That's
don't have the bodies to do that.
that's
But
true.
we do monitor.
Look at this shit. Look at this shit. What the fuck? You got the inmates bragging about the escape. The fuck? You got the inmates You can't make this shit up, bro. You got the inmates bragging about how it's too easy. You got the inmates bragging about the escape, bro. And then you got one of the persons says, I'm innocent. So that might be possible. I don't want to rule that out, bro, because I went to prison for crimes I didn't commit. I'm telling you. So I don't want to rule that out. I don't want to tell that man he's lying to his face. I don't know. He might be lying. He might not be lying. I know for me, I've already done my time. I have no reason to lie to you. I have absolutely no reason to lie to you and tell you that when I tell you that I'm wrongfully convicted, understand that I've already done my time. What reason do I have to lie to you? I would just own up to it. You know what I mean? I mean, for real, I would own up to the shit. So I mean, maybe one of the people that escaped is innocent. That's worth looking into. I hope people look into that, you know. But somebody crossed out I'm and then put we, and there's a 9 on the head that's gang related. So um, it looks like this is the Crips and the IGDs or something, because I see C's up or whatever. And it looks like they tried to erase or blur out the gang-related stuff. You know, I don't know. But I'm seeing, it looks like it says C's up, and it looks like they tried to, so I don't know. This may be I don't think it's the Insane Gangster Disciples, because I don't see any white guys. But I believe this is probably gang-related. You know, there's, let's go to DuckDuckGo. As a matter of fact, let's ask Grok. I've been using ChatGPT and Grok. Hold on one second, guys. What prison gangs operate in Louisiana State Prison that like the number 9? Okay, so that's not giving me anything. It's not. We know it's not the Aryan Brotherhood, because it was a large group of African American males. So we know that's not right. We know it's not. We know it's not MS-13. So I'm thinking this is, based on what I've seen, this is either the Bloods, the Crips, or the G's. But I'm thinking, based on this, it looks like it says C's up, and it looks like they erased. I'm seeing C, but then again, I don't know. And the fact that you have blurred stuff out, it looks like they're trying to cover up the fact that this is gang related. Right? That's what it looks like, because you have blurs on the top area here, and you have blurs there. So let's keep watching.
Monitor, and we rely on tips, and we have an intelligence unit that.
Okay, so that's like a vent. That looks like a ADA. That looks like an ADA cell, Americans with Disabilities Act. Yeah, because most of the toilets are not that big, at least not in Florida Department of Corrections. So I believe that's an ADA cell, and it looks like the maintenance area is supposed to have bars that run through there, but it looks like that cross section of bars might have been broken. And it looks like, okay, because you could see like right over here, there's a bar there that might have got bent out of shape. And so it's hard to say exactly what's going on here. It's hard to say exactly what's going on here. But my initial suspicion was right. They definitely escaped through the maintenance part of the wall there. 100%.
Monitors what's going on in the jail. There's a lot of things at any given time going on.
But it's your job.
It's also possible that maintenance, while they were working on it, they ended up cutting the bars that were supposed to be there because maybe they were in the way. And they said, we're going to come back tomorrow. We're going to weld these things. That's possible. It's also possible that the maintenance workers that are usually inmates, inmates end up fixing a lot of this shit. So it's possible that the maintenance workers set this whole thing up. There's a lot of things that are possible that could have happened here.
Job to monitor every single person in this facility every day.
Visually, with our deputies on the pods. Yes.
Shady,
You said-
I did have a question. The former sheriff, Marlon Gusman, he disputes the claims that there were a lot of issues here at the facility after he left. Do you stand by your statement about the issues with it? And also we learned that you have a $14 million fund balance. Why wasn't that money used to repair the locks? If you could talk about that.
Can I speak I can speak more.
So I see at 9. Hold on a second. While you guys watch this, I'm going to talk to ChatGPT while you guys watch this because I want to explore the gang-related
to the physical plant in the jail, not necessarily design, but at some point this jail was planned, and it was obviously planned to be a minimum custody facility. I don't know what the dynamics of the population was in New Orleans as far as those incarcerated around that time, but that is not the dynamic now. Right now we have 24 pods, and 90% of those pods are populated with high security inmates.
Okay, real quick, bro. I know I'm being annoying as hell, but this is from ChatGPT. And I already suspected this because I've dealt with this before. And this is preliminary because it's ChatGPT, right? But the number 9 and the phrase most hated can be associated with the insane gangster disciples, but context matters. In this situation, specifically, we have it on the face as if it were a face tattoo. And I know a lot of insane gangster disciples in prison that have the number 9 tattooed on their forehead. So I'm willing to bet that insane gangster disciples has something to do with this escape. And I'm gonna do more research on it. I'll probably do a video on it. I'm gonna tell you guys some shit before the media even tells you it. Okay? I'm gonna get to the bottom of this shit tonight. I'm gonna make some phone calls and I'm gonna get to the bottom of this shit tonight. And I'm gonna tell you some shit the media doesn't even know. I'm going to tell you some shit. You're going to be like, how the fuck did you find that out? And then a lot of people are going to say that I'm lying, and then it's going to come out. Watch. We're going to get to the bottom of this shit tonight, and I'm telling you just off my own preliminary research. I forgot exactly which gang it was, but I knew immediately when I saw the 9 and I saw like most hated and I saw like C's up, I'm like, okay, this is like Crips and Gangster Disciples. But I didn't think it was Insane Gangster Disciples because IGD is a white spinoff of that group. So like it kind of looked weird, but then I remembered that there's also like the Imperial Gangsters, which I think also uses 9. There's like these different sets and stuff, and it's different in Louisiana. I'm not like a gang expert by any stretch of the imagination, but I've been around the block long enough to where I can kind of see what's going on. And I'd like to look at the mugshots of some of these guys. So some of these guys have face tattoos.
Right now they have objective class.
Anyway.
Are concerned for their
Arkansas, Tennessee.
Okay, back to the. I wish I had a more high resolution image of these things. I can't really see these people's tattoos all that well. You know what I mean? But is it possible that this mixed guy right here, Leo Tate, right? Is it possible that he's an insane gangster disciple? Maybe. I don't know. I don't have the guys. I don't know any of these people. They kind of look familiar because I've ran into so many people like them, but I couldn't tell you just based off these pictures what gangs these guys are in. The graffiti leads me to believe that these are Crips and IGDs. This is very preliminary, but I'd be willing to bet money that I think this is Crips and IGDs, which are pretty big gangs in Louisiana's prison system. They got a lot of Bloods in there, they got a lot of Crips in there, and they got a lot of IGDs in there, which can basically be said for the whole United States. And so I'm going to look into it. We're going to get to the bottom of it tonight. I'm going to tell you guys some things about these guys that the media can't even find out. I'm going to find some shit out for you guys.
Yes.
We'll provide this to y'all as well.
All right, so you see them jarring open the door, they get it open, subsequently they go inside that cell, and this is where you see them exiting the loading dock door.
I'm going to say something else. Those slider doors that's an outdated concept. It's an outdated design. People get their fingers smashed in them. They just suck, man. They break. They make weird noises. Like, people can open them. You know, like I've seen people take broomsticks and, like, I don't know how they do it. I'm not going to claim to know how they do it. That's a question for my friend Gorilla White when he gets out. He'll be able to tell you more shit like that. But I've seen people go into that thing above the slider and open the doors. I've seen people that were on, like, protective custody, like, they get their doors open and they get stabbed up. And they're supposed to be on protective custody. I've seen it. Those doors can be opened, right? And so, like, this is just massive negligence on the part of the Louisiana authorities. But, I mean, I'm sympathetic to it because the guard in the pod is compartmentalized. And if he tries to question any of this shit, if he goes to his superiors are going to look at him like, why are you making my job hard? You get what I'm saying? And so you just have this whole system of incompetence. And if you're a lower ranking guard and you try to go to your superiors, they're going to look at you crazy because they're going to be like, why are you making my job harder? And so it's just this entire system of incompetence. So I get what the corrections officers are going through. I understand what they're going through because they have a system where their superiors feel like they're making them work harder every time they point something out like that. Like, oh, hey, this is a security risk. We're really supposed to do something about that. Their superior will be like, why did you mention that? You're making my job harder. I don't get paid overtime like you do. I get paid on commission. And so, because, you know, the white shirts, the admins, they don't get overtime. They get commission. So you have this entire system is just fucking set up wrong, right? It's overcrowded. It's understaffed. These people are exhausted. They're pulling 3 or 4 shifts. They're drinking like 5 Monster Energy drinks a day. Even by Jordan Jareb standards, even by my standards, that's ridiculous. That's too many Monster Energy drinks. You know what I mean? I mean, that's crazy. That's fucking nuts. These people are they're demoralized, right? And it's the crazy part about it is, I say again, you had 10 inmates escape, and then you had like 50 or 60 inmates that could have escaped that just didn't escape. They didn't snitch or anything, but they didn't escape either. They just sat there and, okay, cool, we're not going to do that. And those inmates right there, they probably need to get time taken off their sentences. You need to take the inmates that are not that dangerous, that are not that bad, that have been rehabilitated, and you need to kind of just let them go home. You need to take time off their sentences so these dangerous people can be properly housed so they don't fucking escape. And our leaders have failed us. The politicians and the white shirts and the administrators, like that lady. And that lady, she seems okay. I'm not going to lie. She's not the worst I've seen. But a lot of these admins that work in the state prison systems, Like it's just total nepotism. Their dad was a fucking officer, and his dad was an officer, and this is the family business, and they don't want to work, and they don't want to do anything, and they just want to sit in the office all day, soaking up the air conditioning and watching YouTube videos. I bet you got a few of them watching me right now. Scott May, are you watching me right now? Huh? Scotty? Are you watching me right now, Scotty? I think you're fucking watching me, Scott May. You lost your job at Jackson. I bet you. I think Scotty G May is watching this shit right now. You know, shout out to all my bureaucrats in the Florida Department of Corrections sitting there in the air conditioning all day, soaking up the taxpayers' money. That's a sweet gig you guys got there. I'm not gonna lie. All the white shirts and then all them poor gray shirts. Them poor gray shirts have to deal with it every time. Every time there's fucking SeaWorld and the whole fucking dorm gets flooded, the entire dorm gets flooded. There's water everywhere because the admins are like, we want you to torture these people. And then when they flood their cells, you're going to have to deal with it. And we're going to sit in our offices. And we're going to collect our retirement and our Social Security. And we don't want to fix any problems. We just want to sit in our office and soak up taxpayer dollars and retire. And then do inspections twice a week and walk through like we own the place. But when you do the inspections, you don't even check out, I don't know, the fact that there's a fucking hole in the wall and that 10 inmates have escaped. Come on. I mean, this shit's out of fucking control, you know? And these are the people watching the dangerous criminals, like, you know, and I don't have issue with the lower ranking officers, but the people in charge of the prison system have got to go or this shit's going to keep happening. You know, I don't care, bro. I'm a doomsday prepper. I live on a gated compound. I have like motion activated lights everywhere and like pepper ball guns, and I have like megaphones, and I've turned my house into like a fucking base basically. I live out in the woods, and I live on like a compound, so I don't give a shit. You want to have 10 inmates running around causing havoc? They're not going to target my house. They're not. They're going to see my house and all the lights and cameras and fences, and it's going to remind them of prison, and they're going to keep on walking. My house looks like a damn prison. They're going to run from it. You know what I mean? I mean, for real, bro. All I gotta do is get on the megaphone. Get on the megaphone and tell them to cease your disruptive behavior. What are you doing? Get back to work, inmate. And I know you listen. I just feel like this is kind of a moment of triumph for me. I'm having a good time right now because this is kind of like this is like my moment of vindication. I keep having moments like that, right? I keep having moments where in my life where, man, all the times when I was on property restriction, freezing my ass off in my cell with nothing but my underwear in 40-degree weather, all the times I was mistreated, all the times like the court system did me wrong, all the time the system mistreated me, all the time the liberals attacked me, all the time that like I've just been vindicated in every possible way, like everything has gone right, you know? And it just goes to show like you might be in a situation where the people in power are, you know, oppressing you or mistreating you, but the truth tends to like bubble up to the surface eventually. And like the truth eventually will have its day. What is done in the darkness will come to the light. And like that's what if one thing I've learned in my life is truth has a way of bubbling up to the surface. Okay? And so guys, you know, oh yeah, by the way, and I'm not plugging Emolent. They don't sponsor me. I wish they did, but they don't. I don't think anybody will ever sponsor me. Emolent DX80. brightest flashlight ever at the time that I bought it, right? Again, this is the type of shit. If you got escaped inmates running around and you want the escaped inmates to run away from you, this is the type of shit they're going to run away from. They're going to see this and think, oh, they're going to get me, and they're going to run away. Because this is the type of shit you would want if you're hunting escaped inmates. So if you're a private citizen and you're worried about escaped inmates, this is the perfect thing to have, is an extremely bright flashlight. You know? And again, you know, I'm frustrated because we got a lot of experts on YouTube that tell you about gray man theory and all this and that, and they've never been around criminals. They haven't dealt with criminals, right? And it's just annoying because I'm going to give you an example. I'm going to call him by name. Black Scout Survival, right? How often did he use gray man theory when he was in the military? How often does law enforcement use gray man theory other than like detectives and shit like that? Right? The military and law enforcement don't use it. Only very, very highly trained specialized units use gray man theory. And if you're a regular armed prepared citizen, then what the fuck are you doing dabbling in the dark arts? You're not a silent professional. You're just a regular tax-paying citizen. You need to be a hard target against criminals. We need listen, you need to get your neighborhood militarized, and you need to let the criminals know that they're not welcome in your neighborhood, and you need stuff like this. This is the answer. I am the light. I am the light, motherfuckers. That's me. I am the light. I am the light. I am the light. Gray man theory is the darkness. I am the light, the shining light in the darkness. That is me. All right? And people think that, by the way, I know people think that I'm a nutcase right now. I'm not putting on a show. This is how I act in real life. People that know me know, like, I get hyped up on caffeine, and like I get really energetic, you know. But that's the thing, right? Like the gray man theory shit is no good. Is no good. The gray man theory is no good because I get hyped. It's you know, it's not for regular people. It's for highly trained individuals behind enemy lines and shit. You know, imagine being a gray man in your own fucking neighborhood. This is your property. Like, how far are you going to take this gray man theory shit? Are you going to be a gray man on your own land that you've purchased with your own money? Like, your property? You don't owe anybody an explanation. You could look like a commando on your own property. I mean, how far are you going to take this gray man theory shit? Or, like, are you going to be a gray man out in the woods of Montana? Are you going to be a gray man, like, on your own private property? Are you going to be a gray man if, let's say there's like 200 escaped inmates and they're just like robbing and raping and pillaging? Are you, like, what's gray man theory going to do for you then? It's going to do nothing for you. You're going to look like a normal, everyday person. The type of person that criminals target. Normal, everyday people. Because the only people these people are going to run from is people that look like this. People that look like this, escaped convicts are going to see this and they're going to run from it. Like, oh my God! They do not like this one bit. You shine that much light, you make them motherfuckers think they're about to be abducted by aliens and they'll run for the hills, right? So that's the strategic, tactical implications for that. That's the actual prepping lesson here. The actual prepping lesson here, there's two really. One is inmates can escape in your area. You need to know where the prisons are in your area because they can't escape. It can happen. And two, when they do escape, just know that the gray man theory is not going to help you. It's not going to help you at all. And I challenge any of these practitioners of gray man theory. I challenge them. I'll prove them wrong, 100%. You know, These people will avoid hard targets, and they will target the so-called gray men. 100%. Anyways, if you like this video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell icon. I don't have Patreon. I'm not begging for money. I don't sell merchandise. If this channel ever exploded, I could see maybe selling some stuff. But you know, I'm really apprehensive about putting my name on anything. If I put my name on something, I want it to be only the best. And so I haven't asked for any money. I haven't begged for anything. I haven't sold any merchandise. I haven't sold any products other than the notorious Jereb juice. If you drink the Jereb juice, you'll get totally jacked for only 5 easy payments of $19.95. Just kidding. There is no Jereb juice. But we could turn Jereb juice into a real thing. We'll turn it into a meme, and then the meme will evolve into a real thing. It's the power of meme magic, right? Shift the Overton window. Jereb juice. First it was just a meme, and now it's in every household. All right, Jordan Jereb signing off. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell icon. Tell everybody to watch my videos. Use this video to troll your local bureaucrats.